Yes, we are live here. Super Mader Bros podcasting coming at you. I'm one of the co-hosts here, Jeff Mader, joined as always with my brother Dave Mader and co-host Jaemeel Robinson, covering a double kind of recap episodes here, the Friday episode and the Sunday episode, breaking it all down, coming at you with some hot takes about the final three here, guys. We got Xavier. We got Ozza. And then we got Big D. He's the last. But, we're here to talk about it all and break it down and communicate with you here in the chat. If you have some questions, don't be shy to shout us out because we're ready to talk with you and talk amongst ourselves about this episode. Dave.
2 episodes, really. We're talking, because we are, as mentioned, we're talking about episode 34 and 35, which was the Friday episode, September 24th, and now tonight, Sunday's episode, the 26th. Which there was a lot of content here. I thought that the Friday episode was actually better. I thought it was more interesting. I thought we got a lot of good moments with with some of the cast, and so for a recap episode, it was a pretty good recap episode, actually.
Right.
Thought it told the story of the season pretty well. And then tonight's episode I thought was fine too, but I think it took a long time to get to the HOH competition, the first part of it. There was just like they kind of took us through, this is what Xavier's done, this is what Oz has done, and then it was like then even Julie kind of tongue-in-cheek and going, and Big D, well, he thinks he did all these other things, and he put the cookout together and things like that. So that was there was a little bit of that tonight. We got a little bit more, I guess, of Xavier and Kylan's fallout, but I thought that was I felt like they covered that more on Friday too. Anyway, that's just my take.
Jaemeel, what did you make of this recap episode? Did it give you everything you wanted? Were you puking a little bit when it came to the Big D stuff? What are your hot takes?
Okay. I didn't know if the sentence was over. You kind of paused like you were Kylan. I thought you were going to reset and, just come into the next part with the best intentions. I was confused. Yeah, it was okay overall. Like, I was talking to my sister and she was kind of surprised that we didn't get the BB awards because that's typically their recap episode. They have that. But, fair enough. I don't want to award this season either. So I don't blame the producers at all. There were some moments.
Do what you need to do.
Sorry. That was unintentional.
Dave, it's never unintentional. You just
I
just got to do what you need to do.
I did a capital D, and then if I forgot that I set the hotkey as Shift D. So if I just typed Derek's name into a soundboard, and it did Ozza. That's why that happened. Sorry.
Why not a special character? Why
I said it to. That's what I said it to, and now that's what it is. So
okay. There was a couple conversations I'm glad that they put in, but there was a lot of stuff that I just didn't really care about whatsoever.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way, Jaemeel. Like there were some new things I thought that they brought in that like I wish had been on the show previously. Like they kind of left out, and I thought actually would have done the season better, especially for the casual viewers. Maybe not so much the live feeders. A lot of the live feeders saw a lot of the different things that went on, but I think the casual viewer kind of really more so than almost any other Big Brother seasons that I can think of got kind of an inaccurate portrayal of what was really going on in the house. And I think this recap kind of like enlightened a lot of the casual viewers. So like, okay, this
Do what you need to do.
That I was actually just about to bring up Ozza. That Ozza was doing what she needed to do, which was nothing. That was what she needed to do. Big D is delusional, and we already knew that. But the casual viewer, I think, is still getting filled in on that. And then Xavier, I think like it was just the Xavier story. Like it was like his story was the most compelling and the most like okay. I see like the whole thing with his nephew, and I don't know. He just seems like the most a man on a mission.
I'm sorry, Jeff. His name is Lucius.
His name is Lucius.
Is he a Malfoy?
He's not a Lucius Malfoy. No, he's a
No.
He's a different kind of Lucius.
He's a different kind of Lucius. But great hair on both of them.
Yes.
Asa says thank you.
Oh, okay. Now you're just trying to butter my biscuits a little bit.
Well,
All right.
yes, I will. I'm definitely gonna butter Lucius's biscuits.
Who wouldn't?
Who would? I think
Who wouldn't?
he was buttering all the girls' biscuits while he was Lucius. And I think that again, all this kind of stuff to me, like these recap shows, guys, kind of show us like people's social games more than they show us anything else. So the other episodes are a lot more about strategy, and I think they do need to mix in, a little bit more of what they do on the recap show on the regular show. Like I think I felt like in these 2 episodes, I got to learn a lot more about the final 3 and some of the other characters that have left us. A little bit more. Dave, did you kind of feel that way? Did you learn something about a house guest that you didn't know and wish you knew before?
I wish I'd known so much about Christian's love for animals.
Yo, you guys sound real dumb to America right now. I'm the only one that knows my animals.
He's the only one who knows his animals. I didn't know there was this whole thing with the zonkies that we missed out on.
Zonky is a half zebra, half donkey. And based on the photos that I've seen, it's half donkey in front, half zebra in the back. I'm clearly not making this up. If I were to make up a mythological combination of beasts, it wouldn't be a donkey and a zebra. It would be something cool like a penguin and a pterodactyl.
Right, exactly.
So wasn't it a pterodactyl or something like that?
A pterodactyl, yeah, of course. As you would. It's just like Hannah in that scene too. Just like, there's no way that's real.
But there's no way that zebra donkeys are real. There's
It is
absolutely no way.
Zonkies are real.
I feel like that can't be real.
You guys,
You're
dude,
messing
are
with me.
zonkies real?
And there was also Claire and Brittany going on about wings, Buffalo, New York.
Literally known for it.
Buffalo doesn't actually have good wings. That's what I heard.
I've heard, yes. I've heard one is like paradoxes.
I love the music.
From who? Buffalo, New York is the place for wings. And that is no paradox, no nothing.
It's
That's
not.
on the mic drop.
What about vegan wings? Do they have vegan wings?
I liked all that.
If you're a Britney's friend, you're keeping that sound on like your phone at all times.
Yeah.
Because the moment she gives you any type of evil eye, you play that tone.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, let's break it down.
Yeah.
Zonkies
Yeah.
exist.
Yes,
Zonkies do
Ligers.
exist.
ligers exist.
Yes, ligers exist.
Buffalo, New York, not the wings. You get better wings in Toronto, honestly. Like
Honestly, you don't even have to go that far. Go up to Niagara Falls, Falls, New York, and go to Buzzies. Shout out to Buzzies, right? I love you guys, right? I'll be back soon once that ground border is open. Buzzies, don't you dare miss it.
I think that just like Southern Ontario here and Buffalo, upstate New York, I think is like where wings are the best, or where like sort of like the Buffalo wing was sort of mastered. As somebody who is Montreal, their wings were not as good, or Nova Scotia for that matter.
I just feel it's very buffalo wings, chicken wings in general, right? In Western New York, Southern Ontario, they care more about it than most places in the world.
Yeah.
That doesn't necessarily equate that it's the best there. There could probably be this hole in the wall in New Orleans that has a great wings place that we've never seen before, right?
Maybe.
But like, to have the thought process that the very best is there is the foolishness that New Yorkers have about New York pizza, which is ass, which is literally ass.
It can only be made there.
Because of the water. Because of the rat-infested water in New York City.
Jameel, how
That's
dare
why-
you? The filtration is the best in the world in New
Oh.
York City.
Oh yeah,
second
Oh,
to none.
Second to none.
I'm not going to New York, so New Yorkers can't do anything to me.
Fair. I don't know. Like a lot of New Yorkers say that when they move out to LA that the pizza sucks, and it's like it does because LA's pizza's worse. You know,
Yes.
you know, I don't know if it has to do with the water or what it has to do with, but all I know is that it depends on what you want. Like, I mean, the Chicago pizza, you know, is really good too. A lot of people don't like it because it's like a casserole, but you know, we're not here to discuss food. We are here to discuss Big Brother.
What about taco meat?
Oh,
Yeah, see, we were gonna transition to that.
And I've dealt with like taco meat.
What?
You've never heard of a taco meat?
Was anyone else familiar with the taco meat term before tonight?
No, I know another term for it.
Can you say it on the air?
I cannot say it on the air
Oh.
because it's a big no-no. I can
okay.
say it. I can say it, but I can't say it on the
I
air.
don't want to make you say it if you don't want to, but
I can say it, but I'm not going to say it.
So it's when your chest hair looks like taco meat.
When your chest hair looks like taco meat?
Or you can say it looks like goat shit is another example.
Goat shit. Yeah. So this
Goat
is. Yeah, that was good. Like I don't know, that was part of tonight. Like I thought that some of the behind the scenes stuff was really good. I thought like like the Lucius stuff, like this stuff with Brittany, and like I thought that like even this where she was like, "Oh, you Big D, you got like this taco meat chest hair." And he's like, "No, I don't. How dare you insult me?" And she's like like she's saying like, "No, you don't have it." But she in the DR she's saying, "You do. But it's fine. It's fine, Big D."
Dave, there was a lot of things with Big D where like he actually legitimately gets angry about things, but it's always funny. Like it's always played for laughs, and I think it's because of like the way he just gets so outraged, but it's kind of like in a fun way. But at the same time, like he actually does care. Like so, it becomes even more funny. I think.
Yeah. I think there are times where he just comes across as like, you know, it's all about his ego, but then other times he's playing sort of a role. He's kind of he's doing a bit, you know, a little bit as well. And it's part of his charm. He
charm.
It's he thinks so. I think. And that's how he tries to sort of connect with people. As much as put them at ease, I think, just by he can kind of have that sort of sass back and forth with them, but it's like it's friendly enough, and you feel like you have a connection with him.
Yeah. The only connection that I want to have with Big D is my foot connecting with his behind.
Well, he was not putting up with that Kylan stuff.
The way that Kylan left this house was disgusting.
Yeah, he has some standards, Jaemeel.
Does he?
So, okay, speaking of food and him getting outraged, the whole argument concerning Kylan talking about his food and what he cooks.
Right.
All right. So we see Big D, who's kind of taken it upon himself to make sure that the house is clean, has created in his mind an order of which people have to wash the dishes. Right. So it was Oz and X that were remaining, and X said he washed it just recently, so he's like, it's Oz's turn, and Kylan stepped in and said, "Don't worry about it, I'll wash it for you, because you cook so much, and it's my pleasure to eat your food." And it seemed like he was heaping praise upon Azza, which Big D did not particularly like, and had to. I cook food too. Right,
but only the simple food, things that are easily done. Like this isn't only the boiling the pasta and
it's
whatever.
Just pasta.
He puts Pop-Tarts in the toaster or whatever. Like that's Big D's cooking.
So from that scene, who was the bigger asshole? Was it Big D for freaking out about it, or was it Kylan?
Big D. Yeah. No,
I sided with Big D in that argument completely. I thought Kylan was completely in the wrong. I really thought he was just being a jerk to
Okay, so
D.
the behind the scenes of that behind the scenes clip is that that whole argument went on a lot longer, and majority of the conversation was Kylan talking and saying that Big D shouldn't feel the way he feels, and he's being a jerk for feeling that way. So it's
Right.
better just to keep. And he just kept going on and on and on in typical Kylan fashion,
Right.
where people's feelings. You shouldn't feel the way that you feel, and that's your issue. So stop being overtly sensitive about things, which
Right.
Big D is typically. But if you're having a conversation with someone and there's a disagreement, you don't talk for like 15 minutes on how they're being too sensitive. You might as well just drop it, and the fact
Yeah.
that you're not dropping it just irritates people more.
Oh, he does it on purpose. Like he's twisting the knife because he's like, I'm just going to, I'm going to beat you with patience, right? Just by being a complete dick to you and being like and pushing your buttons, which he's completely doing. That's what he was trying to do to Xavier, right? He's like, this is the button you hope to push, and he's like, I won't lose my cool. The more that you get upset, the more I win. Is how Kylan thinks.
That was kind of my problem with Big D in this moment, was because like you think the more outraged you get, the more Kylan's gonna understand. He's not. and it's like you're kind of being silly here, Big D. Like he was literally giving Ozza a compliment, and Big D took it as an insult to him, which, I mean, I don't know. I kind of understood where Kylan was coming from in a way. It's like he wasn't saying anything bad about you, but then he did, and he kept putting his foot in his mouth after once Big D got mad. But the initial reason Big D got mad, I thought he was kind of being ridiculous.
Sure, but like Kylan could have let it go too. He could have been like,
Well,
and I appreciate you too, Big D. Of course, you cook.
That's why they're an old married couple. Ozza literally called them that. They're an old married couple that can't get along, basically.
Yeah, I guess so. Like, I don't know. We'll see how tight they are after this game's over. But I just think that Big D is sort of like this sibling in that dysfunctional family that is the Cookout, that is sort of like gets on everybody's nerves and everyone clashes with at some point or another. I think that's just how he is. He gets into it with Ozza sometimes. Sometimes he gets, I think even with Xavier, he's never Hannah for sure. So that's just how he is. Sometimes he's going to get like irritable, and you're going to have clash with him. I think to varying degrees. And it's how you respond to it is also a reflection on you, right? So I think when Kylan is like, what do you mean? And why are you doing this? Like everyone just goes like, what are you doing, Kylan? Like, like,
yeah. Yeah. I just think the initial argument was unnecessary, and then Kylan just kept pouring gasoline, and that didn't help. But I don't know. At the same time, I mean, I think it just at the end of the day, Kylan's personality really got to people. And his personality is you mentioned, Dave, like calm, condescending, passive aggressive.
Smug would be a word I would assign to Kylan. Yeah, I think it's
a lot of people use the word entitled to describe Kylan.
Cheers, Kylan.
Hey, look, if at the end of finale night, if someone met him outside of CBS Studios and beat the living tar out of this dude, I wouldn't be surprised. Would I feel bad? I would feel bad for his family.
Nobody to look up to.
Yeah. He'll look up to Kobe from the hospital bed.
Kylan. You spent all this season gaming people. And you got mad when they gamed you. I'm sorry to that man.
Where was this as of the whole season?
Public in the DR all the time, but she was doing jack squat. They're like, she's not going to be a character that we need to care about.
And then all of a sudden,
I have no problem coming up the block and sending Kylan out. I've been wanting to send him out since week 6. Okay, boom.
Yeah, no, I wanted that as of the whole season. I want to be able to cheer for her, but she makes it difficult, guys. Like, do you feel that way about Jaemeel? Like, do you kind of feel like sometimes you're just like, what? Where was this fight? And was this non-fight a strategy at a certain point where she's just like, screw it, I'm gonna get to the end because nobody's gonna see me as a threat, and she's actually playing the strategy that Big D should be saying he's playing. But
yes, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Right?
Yes.
Did they just get here with dancing and singing though?
We made it. We made it.
All the singing and dances got us here.
I know.
you know what? He's not wrong.
Right.
It's their lack of threat level and their dancing and singing, their go along attitudes really is the reason they're in the final three at the end of the day. And Xavier is in the final three because he played the Cookout and the game the best. Like at the end of the day, he was always the most well positioned, and everyone knew it. And nobody ever took the shot because of optics a lot of the time. Like he was on the block 3 times, and they could have voted him out. And they went, you know what? Nope, we're gonna take out Brittany. Nope, we're gonna take out Claire. Nope, we're gonna take out Alyssa. Like they had the chance, and they
Sure.
never did.
The Cookout served a great. It was a good. I don't want to call it a shield for Xavier, but Xavier would have gone home, I think, if he didn't have those 6, the other 5 of that in that alliance, making sure he got to 6, right? Like they were like, we all get to 6 and then we duke it out. Well, Xavier is just so much more capable, of winning challenges. He's just so much more disciplined in terms of his social game and in terms of what he tells people. And he's just like, I think like his only real competition was Tiffany. And he's like, and then as soon as like it was now down to 6, I took out Tiffany. And then Hannah went, and then Kylan was sort of the next target after that, right? He's been systematic, methodical. He's been, you can call it boring, but it's also just like, you got to give it credit.
You're heaping a lot of praise onto this man.
I think it's deserved.
I'm more with Jaemeel on this one, but continue.
Yes, he was more poised to be successful in the end game. Yes, his social game, I don't think he had like that great of a social game, right? I think he had one that was passable, right? If Hannah was a comp beast, would her social game be not the same as his, right? In terms of like he had a pair, she had a pair, right? If she was able to win out and take out X, would we be heaping the same type of praise about her social game? He didn't really need to have a social game because the Cookout was his social game. Just like a lot of the people in the thing, they didn't have to worry about getting voted out because like there was no risk, right? If there was a risk to be voted out, then definitely, absolutely. We saw his social game in terms of how he played Kylan, because that's where he really had to kind of lock things in and exert his will, right?
Right.
6, Tiffany was already like Tiffany was already behind the 8 ball, not necessarily because of how great of a social game Xavier played, but how she didn't really set herself up and put her trust in Kylan. So
you're saying that Xavier got lucky?
No. There's luck for everyone. Everyone is luck, right? All I'm saying is his social game really exerted himself in the end game. He played a better end game, and that's where he is. That's where he is right now, right?
Right.
Everyone was protected by the Cookout, right? So,
yes. But okay, amongst the Cookout members, if I was any one of the other 5, except for Kylan, maybe, I would say like Xavier has a high chance of defeating me in these challenges, right? And I think that if you're Tiffany, if you're Hannah, if you're Azza, especially if you're Big D, maybe not Kylan. He's the exception, right? He's the one who's like, I can always defeat Xavier. I don't have to worry about Xavier. But the others should have like been realizing like he'll probably win, and if he does win, does he protect me? Like if I'm Tiffany, like did Tiffany really think that Xavier wouldn't come for her?
That's why she paired up with Kylan.
Okay, well then she picked the wrong comp beast to go with. So that's basically
well, not necessarily that because she picked Kylan over X. It's just that relationship wasn't there when she needed it, right? Beforehand, it was fine, you know, it was back and forth with her and Kylan. She never really had that relationship with X.
No.
But when time came, Kylan picked his horse. Tiffany was standing there without a chair in musical chairs, and she got.
But like Kylan's flip away from Tiffany, does Xavier not get credit for that?
Well, who instigated that relationship, right? And it was mostly Kylan. Like that whole gentleman's conversation was 95. Right. Don't say all the time, because I say stupid stuff all the time too, right? And Mary, you're better than that. You are.
Yeah, sometimes you're with me. You say so.
Yeah. For the gentleman's agreement, right? That was 95% Kylan, and X was like, yep, yep. Kylan did did a great job with Big D. X did definitely plant those.
I didn't realize he had final two until the last couple episodes that they had
Big
this
D had final two with a lot of people too.
With a lot of people, but yeah, is what they chose to show us. Kevin from Twitch here is asking, regardless of how he sees it, do you think that Big D is just playing for that 75,000 second place prize? Jeff.
Yes, I think he's sitting in the final two. And the thing that I love about him sitting in the final two is he gets to explain his delusions of grandeur to the jury. And I'm that's the one thing that's giving me hope for the finale, to be entertained. Because at the end of the day, I don't care who wins money. I want to be entertained. And Big D is going to give me that at the very least, guys. And all right, and to go back on the Xavier point that we were talking about before. For me, Xavier just positioned himself well, especially at the 6, because he had this weird understanding with Kylan that it's like, okay, we're not going to go after each other, at least not right away, because we're both big threats and it's just not much fun. Let's take out the Hannahs and the Tiffanys because they're more scary toward the end of the game. And I think they viewed each other as the same. You know, we're both big dudes with comp beast, not an insanely great social game, but pretty good. You know, I think they viewed each other the same.
I think Xavier played Kylan, right? I think he completely, and I think that's the part that Xavier's not getting credit for.
See, I think Kylan played himself. You know,
combination.
Yeah,
I think to not give X credit for giving Kylan enough rope to hang himself is a disservice to X and his perception of exactly the type of person that Kylan is. Because if Kylan won out, Kylan's going to take Xavier. So, or chances are he's taking him, right? Chances, right?
Right. Everything indicated that he would have, right? So Xavier was positioned that almost every.
I don't believe that guy.
His biggest rival, Kylan, was going to take him.
I don't believe anything Kylan says, especially in the house, and especially when it came to game. He lied to Tiffany, and then the next week he was trying to make the deal with Xavier, and then the next week he would have been making a deal with Azza. You know, that's how he plays the game. And, you know, he in some ways, he reminds me so much of Coach from Survivor. You know, like really, because just so phony, so loyalty, big threats go to the end, blah, 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 blah. And then at the end of the day, he'll cut your throat and take Sophie and Albert to the end, and then he'll still lose. You know, that's kind of how I view Kylan is how I view Coach.
So what you're saying is we missed out on a sunset of just Kylan just staring onto it and just having this long monologue about, you know, the honor of playing Big Brother.
I am the Dragon Slayer. I am the Xavier Slayer. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Kobe doesn't step down from the challenge. He accepts it.
He accepts. Kobe would win at any cost. He's not I want to play.
That was the sister Nino said the other night. He was like, Kobe would have not have said, I need to face the best at the end. He would be like, no, if I get to play the 8th seed, great.
I'll beat them. Good to go.
This is the same Kobe that said he would rather play in Europe than play for the New Jersey Nets, who was supposed to draft him. He forced his way to LA.
Well,
the
he got
true
drafted
mark
by
of a
Charlotte.
hero. Well, yeah,
He got
because New Jersey wouldn't take him, because why would they take a person who's not going to report? Those type of people are usually relegated to being considered weak-minded pieces of crap like Steve Francis and Alonzo Mourning. Don't think I forgot about you and what you did for Toronto and with that Miami trade. I didn't forget it. Garbage.
Never forget.
Kind
Never
of like
forget.
an Eric Lindros situation too, where it's like, I'm not playing for Quebec City, not because I don't like the people of Quebec, because of the owner, which is ironic because that team moved to Colorado and won a bunch of cups. And if Eric Lindros had been on that team, he probably would have won a bunch of cups too.
Kevin's mentioning here too. I don't condone violence, but I'm not gonna lie. It would have been nice to see Kylan catch those hands. What Sister Nino said the other night, he's like, no jury would have convicted Xavier, but I don't think that's true.
Outside of CBS lot after finale night, just a random group of people, like a wave.
We did get the thing tonight where Big D said he would have hit him. And he said this before in the season, like, you bring up my family or you bring up my mother or my God, and there's hell to pay. Is basically what he said.
So what you're saying is Julie needs to be careful about invoking God's name?
Yeah, I think so. Don't be the good when it comes to Big D. And at the same time, I think it's just kind of silly in a lot of ways, just the amount that Big D has ran his mouth in this season. And like, he's right about Kylan, but like, have some self-awareness about yourself. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
I have to pull this clip of Big D screaming when he hurt his mom.
Mommy!
Keep going, guys.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I thought you were going to pull it. Okay. Yeah. So for me, like, I don't know. The whole thing with Kylan was kind of hovering over both of these episodes, guys. And I mean, they addressed it, but I mean, the one moment where I thought it was real tonight was when Xavier, won the competition here, and then he's in the one room and he jams his foot on the little toy or whatever that's on the floor. I forget what it was, but he's like, "Take that, Kylan. Wait, you don't think I'm playing for my nephew? Screw you." And just that whole moment, I kind of thought was pretty funny because, like, yeah, I'd feel the same way as Xavier, but it's still bothering him. That like what occurred, you could see like it's bugging him. And
sure, I think it bug anybody, right? Like,
yeah. Oh, if someone questions your integrity,
it brings up like a child and your family and all these things that are like, it's just like it's so bad. Like, even I would say even Derek F thought disgusting.
Disgusting.
And he is not someone to shy away from hurting people's feelings if he wants to get you right. So
the whole moment tonight with Azza, where it's like he didn't want her to like hurt herself or whatever. He's like, but it would be okay if you did. Like he was. he's a win at all costs type person.
He's okay. Yeah, he's okay with playing villain sometimes. I think I think like embracing his dark side. Here's the clip.
Wait, hold on. I thought you were gonna do the evil laugh.
What? Oh, Derek F's evil laugh?
Yeah, you said he's.
No, that's his crying. Here we go.
Everyone's got a price. Everyone's got to pay. Because the $1 Million Man always gets his way. Wrong one. That's where the evil last one's coming.
Yeah. I just kind of like with Big D, like he's just better. Like, there's nothing funny about Kylan. I don't think if a book of comedy slapped in the face, I don't know if he would know how to tell a joke. Whereas like Big D is got all the self-deprecating humor, and he's actually very good in his delivery. And he's always kind of making me laugh in a lot of ways, just because he's so silly and he's so ridiculous of a person that I can't help but laugh. And I think production, honest to God, loves him. you know, the way
I've known people like Big D, like, you know, in my life, who not quite exactly like him, but like people who have that sassiness and who have that like sort of like showmanship, I guess, to their like just how they deal in social situations. You know, I think that he reminds me of a lot of those people I've known in life, and so there's sort of a familiarity, a comfort there. And then Kevin just, you know, pointing out that Kylan's like looking like school on Sunday, no class. Yeah, like I just think that. Wait, do you think there'll be fallout for Kylan after this?
Yeah, he's not coming back.
Well, no, I just mean in real life.
Yeah, I don't think anyone who watched the show that knows him from the show, he's gonna get yelled at on the street. Honestly, he will. I think.
Don't go to LA, bro.
He's
Don't
from
go to
LA, right? He lives around the corner from the studio.
Well,
I don't know.
You might need to move because Los Angeles folks don't like you invoking the name of Kobe in a negative light.
That and they don't like you bringing up. People don't like you bringing up, you know, family members. As Kevin Verde said in the comments, no class. He went out like Willie Hance, like literally. Him and Willie Hance have the two. And what's the woman's name that threw her mic in the pool?
It's not Shira. Chima.
Those three people have the worst exits. I don't know, 1, 2, 3. I think Kylan's gold. I think Willie's 2, and I think Shima's 3. But they have the 3 worst exits in Big Brother history.
Kylan had an Instagram statement.
I guess so. I'm not following him on Instagram.
What do you say? Like what your family's apologizing for you? Like that doesn't mean anything. Like, you know, like
the man's dumb. I would figure like my family would be like, sorry, man's dumb.
Man, yeah, he's doesn't have social awareness. Like I mean, without him apologizing for, I think the finale, guys, is going to be quite interesting because there are going to be comments and questions directed toward him, and I don't think he's going to have the ego to have the self-awareness to be like, you know what, I screwed up.
Okay.
Unless the producers prep him for it.
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe if you go, you know what, the producers go, you know what, you got to apologize. What you did was wrong. And
like you need to know, yeah, this is bad. You're not gonna like what you.
But do you think you're gonna actually get a real apology from this dude? I think he's gonna say, "I'm sorry, but," or "I'm sorry that it was misconstrued," or it's gonna be some kind of excuse that's just gonna go on for like 2 minutes, and like X is gonna be like, "No, I'm not taking that apology."
I doubt it because everything in his exit press said that he didn't regret saying any of it. That he was, you know, he was quite confident in how he had gone about it. So we'll see how he feels on finale night, you know, and how much the producers do or don't.
I wish there was a crowd. I wish there was a crowd.
Yeah, he wouldn't do well with the crowd. He would get booze if there was a crowd there, but there won't be.
He wouldn't have just gotten booed. It would have been merciless. It would have been Aaron Grease, but worse. It's just the amount of booze. I think personally, guys, I really do, because I think anytime you invoke children into an argument, or you know, that's beyond below the belt.
Although,
you know,
if that nephew was the one that was in the video, the one that's moving out, that's not a child.
Yeah.
That's not a child.
I'm not sure who was that in his, like, if that was like a brother or a sibling.
That kid looked grown. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
He probably has his own set of taco meat. Right. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I wonder how old his brother was, because he's only 27, Xavier. So, yeah.
What if it was older brother, younger brother?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
That was his brother. His brother looks young. Well, Xavier isn't old, so yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Control. I think that's the type of stuff where it's just it's no class, and you know, for me, like the way I look at like what Willie Hance did was he knew he was going home. The power veto had just been won, and he was like, "I'm going to go out in the big spectacle," and he was, you know, couldn't, you know, that's kind of what he did. Shima was, you know what, I'm not following your rules, and screw you, Alison Grodner and the producers, and threw her mic, and she was like a problem for a while. And then this one was just like personal because Kylan didn't get what he wanted, no heads up, didn't get, you know, his manipulation didn't work, I think was really at the end of the day what bothered him. And you know, like as I said it right today, tonight, you have the clip, Dave, if you play it again. She hit the nail on the head.
Oh.
Kylan. You spent all this season gaming people. Then you got mad when they gamed you. I'm sorry to that man.
When they game you.
Yeah. I like this Azza. I mean, this often happens, guys, too. Like in Big Brother, where we get this like floater, get to the end, and then all of a sudden, like, oh, the show is now showing us their DRs and is showing us kind of, oh, they do have a personality, you know. And Azza is finally kind of doing that, and I'm rooting for her. I want her to win, guys. I don't know about you, but for me, I want Azza to win because I like her the most as a person, as far as who's left.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, here's I want to share this from over with from Kevin shared this. This is the statement from Kylan's family after, I guess, Thursday's eviction. As Kylan's friends and family want to acknowledge that Kylan let this week and his emotions get the best of him. We know that this will be a humbling and enlightening experience for him. It's one of the many things we love about Kylan. He always willing to learn from his mistakes. The historic achievements of the Cookout are going to be his most dearly held memories from this game. How do you know what he's gonna hold dear, what he's gonna do, and you don't even know if he's gonna apologize?
Yeah, I don't know about this. Like, yeah, if I was I'm a grown ass man. If I did something wrong on a television show and my mom or my dad came and posted it on Facebook and said, you know what, you'll learn from this. You know, I'd be like, what? You know, like, I'm not,
you get out of the house and go, Jeff, we had to put a statement out to say you will be sorry when you get out of the house about what you said.
I'm sorry.
You know what? Like, yeah, I mean, I get why they would do it or whatever, but at the same time, I don't think they should. You know, I think that's once you're in a, you know, over a certain age, I think it's like you're on your own here, you know?
Well, aren't you putting words into his mouth?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, like, you know, he can defend himself. You know, he has the platform to do so, especially on Wednesday.
Right. He also stole Big D's dad's ring.
He stole
Smoking Joe's ring.
Yep.
Why would he take his ring?
He never gave it back. Where's the statement coming for that one too?
Comment from Clapback here saying exactly, but that's funny from him and his fam. Felt like, damn, we got to do something. He deserves
it too. Yeah, it's true.
Couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
I'm gonna get hit with like newspapers and stuff if I got home after being foolish on a game show, right? I know that's coming. It'll be like, what did you think you were doing, dummy?
I can't think of a worse moment for like a Big Brother Survivor player than to your own personal, you know, like standpoint or, you know, a brand, I guess is the word.
Yeah.
And like, this one, maybe Memphis last year with the whole red rum thing or whatever. Like that was kind of a bad, but like that was not personal the way that, you know, was sort of, but it wasn't like this. You know,
like I almost equate this to like, you know, Jeff Varner in Survivor when he outed Zeke, you know, at the tribal,
or Brenda and her teeth, Brenda and the teeth.
That one was bad, but
that was looking to humiliate the person.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, you mean Brenda was the person that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that was especially like at the tribal council when she did that. Survivor kind of, and like the Sue Hawk infamous speech that she did with the snake and how bitter she was. She just made herself look bad. There are moments on these shows sometimes where it's like, I'm just going to hurt you and I don't care what I have to do and how I look, because this is between you and me, and screw the show and screw the TV. I am going to call you out and you're going to have to deal with it.
Yeah, we live in for 80 days together, and this is I don't know. It was like he can't. How can you not look at it as premeditated? You have nothing to do but think about what you're going to do.
Well, just think about all the tickets they will sell for BB boxing, just like they did in August.
Is that the thing?
Remember, they had the U.S. versus Canada.
I remember, but I never saw it.
They have I have the results right in front of me.
Okay, did we win? Canada win?
Okay. Casey went against Veronica Doherty.
Taking Casey on that one.
Casey won via split decision. Then you had Fessy versus John Party.
John Party won.
Party.
Fessy
won
with TKO round 1.
Oh wow!
We're not doing well in this. Canada's not doing well.
And then you had Dallas Cormier versus Nick McEnroe. Nick.
Got Nick?
Huh?
Nick.
Dallas won TKO in round 1.
All right.
So Adam Pike versus Josh Martinez.
I'm going for Adam there.
Adam won via TKO round 1, I think.
Yeah, Josh isn't tough.
Then you have I'll do the last. I'll say the last 3, and I won't say who won. Godfrey versus Enzo. Caleb versus Michael Stubley, and then Jeremy Maguire versus Tom Plant.
Okay. I don't even know who some of those people are.
You know who Godfrey is?
Yes, absolutely.
Godfrey and Enzo.
Did Enzo? I think Enzo.
I think Godfrey would destroy Enzo in a fight. Like
it ended in a draw.
Okay.
Caleb versus Michael Stubley.
Stubley. I'll take Stubley on that one.
Nope. Defeated by Beast Mode Cowboy. Unanimous decision.
Never bet against Beast Mode Cowboy.
Then Jeremy the Manimal Maguire versus Tommy Boy Plant. So Tom was from first season of Big Brother Canada, if my memory serves me right.
So that's like 10 years ago.
Yep. So Jeremy won TKO round 1.
We also we said this on the last episode we did, guys, but people have been saying he was trying to get X disqualified, hoping he would get physical. I think he was too. I said this last week, and I kind of asked you guys, and I think you guys concurred. But I do think Kylan was provoking X in that moment. It was his last ditch attempt, I think, to be like, you know what? It's either you and me at the end, or you and me, neither of us at the end. And I think he was like, you don't go below the belt there that much, I think, unless you're trying to like provoke something. That's how I kind of view it.
Yeah, I can remember a similar moment in our life, Jeff.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good.
Did I do something? I'm sorry.
No, not you. No.
Okay.
But
it was Josh, right? I apologize for Josh.
No, it wasn't Josh.
Josh gets heated sometimes, but we talked it through. I put out I put up an apology on his behalf via his socials. I don't know if you read it, but it was a very heartfelt apology.
It's okay. The ball hit him in the throat. It was okay. He needed water. It was all right. We were all right with it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, do you guys want to just talk about the final HOH competition itself and like just sort of how this they were on a slippery bull, I guess. Like they called it a boat.
It looked like a rocket ship.
It looked like a rocket ship that was just covered in water, and it just watching people try to balance on this thing with weird faces. It was. Did you guys enjoy this? Like as far as first parters went?
No, I did not need Big D shouting and crying every 5 seconds.
Ah! Ooh! That would have been
distracting.
It would have been very distracting. Xavier was complaining a little bit of that in some of his DR sessions. And I thought Azza, like, and Jane was saying as much too, was like that. She had the long legs and she could have maybe done well at this. Like, I don't know. Could she have beat Xavier tonight?
She made a mistake, I think, guys. Like with her legs, like I think Xavier had the right strategy to just use his legs to keep him up. That Azza was using way too much of her core strength the entire time.
Yeah.
And so Xavier had a better strategy, but I do think if Azza hadn't screwed up and repositioned herself, that she might have been able to beat. Yeah, she might have been able to beat him. So that's kind of how I viewed it. But at the same time, like I think it was going to come down to, Big D was going to have to beat one of these two people, and it wasn't probably going to happen in any competition.
Right.
He's so bad.
Question here. Just back on Kylan, do you think he's going to bring up that his exit to the jury, and do you think it will be revisited? I think it will definitely be revisited on finale.
There's no way it won't be.
Yeah.
It's absolutely going to be brought up. It might be shown to the jury, but only probably after the
No, I
vote.
don't think so. I don't think so.
It'll be brought up at the jury roundtable. It will. I think it will be. Because when Kylan comes out, or he'll be sitting there, and when they do the whole jury segment of Kylan showing up, they're going to be like, "What happened?" And he's like, "Well, let me tell you." And he will go into a 30-minute convoluted recap of what occurred, and I think he will try to spin it in a way where X is the bad guy and he's the good guy. He really is a true master supervillain of Big Brother.
I don't think people are gonna buy it though.
I don't think he'll buy it, but I think I'm with Jeff. I think he will try to spin it in a way that he'll position it. The fact that he wasn't given the heads up, that was what he was most upset about at the time.
Tough Beans' his big brother.
I know, but it's what he's going to try to peddle. I don't think it will stick though, especially with how like Sour Sarah Beth's already on him. Coming in. I think they're going to be happy to see him that he's out of the game and not going to be able to have a chance to win here. Maybe Derek X will be happy to see him.
I think he will, definitely try to spin it the same way he tried to spin it to Julie, where it was like, I just want people, that was unnecessary lies. And then it's just going to cut to Sarah Beth, and it's just going to be daggers for days. And Kylan's going to be like, what did I do? Oh, right. Yeah, that's right. I did tell you unnecessary lies.
Be honest, you wish you had lied to him.
No, I think I wish I had talked to him a little bit more than I did as far as talk through that after it. But I think that as far as lying, I think there's an element of lying when you have to. And I think that for me and from I think a lot of people, you can tend to respect people who only do it when they have to, as opposed to doing it when they don't have to, wanting to be a competitor,
Yeah, just and then Sarah Beth will be like, "You didn't have to tell me all these things."
Can we get the Zingbot for Kylan just so I feel better?
Oh, sure.
Kylan! Oh, no. Listening to you talk is like sitting by a brook. An endless babbling brook. Shut the
Everyone knows that Kylan babbles.
The more he talks, the less people understand what the hell he's saying.
You wonder what just happened here, and how did 40 minutes go by?
He never shuts up.
Yeah. Okay, your question here: who's going to get credit though for getting out Kylan?
Big D, I can't wait to see it, is going to paint this picture of how great he was in the game and how on point his social game. And he said it tonight a little bit about how, whoever was HOH, he was always good with. And the truth of the matter is that whoever the HOH was just looked at Big D as a person you just bring to the end. If I can get to the end with Big D, perfect. And every single person thought that about him. And that's why he got to the end, not because of his great gameplay.
Not Kylan. Kylan never wanted to take him to the final, I think.
I don't know. See, again, I don't trust Kylan. I don't trust anything he said when it came to gameplay.
I think it's going to be X. They're going to show the jury, and the jury's going to, and even Kylan's going to frame it. He's going to frame it as that was X that did it to him. That's why he feels a certain way.
Isn't that fair, though?
It is fair. It's the truth.
that it really Axe does, like, even though Big D was of course the one who pulled the trigger and agreed to do it, he was kind of like,
if Big D wasn't going to do it, he was going to get
he's
as
too Big D's so malleable, right? Especially for Xavier, like it's like you can get him kind of to do whatever with enough work on him.
Let's work. All right, Big D kind of brought it up tonight, but let's rework this scenario, guys. What if Big D voted to evict Ozza? Is that better or worse for his game? Because he's not winning the competitions anyway. So would it have been better for Big D to have gotten to the end with Kyland? Is that a way Big D wins the game?
No. He still wouldn't win. But people would respect him more because he would say that he guaranteed himself getting to the end because he betrayed X, right? Now, if he got out X, that would have been a different story altogether.
So you're telling me, because that obviously what Kylan did wouldn't have happened had that occurred. But does Kylan come across as likable enough in the final two questionnaires to get the votes? You know,
because
what I
against
mean?
Big D, maybe like a Big D who is not. I don't think they would feel good about giving the money to a lot of the jury.
Yeah,
I think Sarah Beth.
They could live. They could live with Kyland. Maybe not Sarah Beth. I mean, she might.
But not now. They couldn't. Like not right? You know what I mean?
If they had that information.
I mean, do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, character is character, and yes, he made a dumb decision and was went completely. But I think Kyland he's a dirty game player in a lot of ways, and I think if they get to the final two chairs, he might put his foot in his mouth just as much as he did. He
would have to really botch it. He would have to really botch it.
I think things would fall apart once Big D starts mentioning what he's responsible for.
Right. Yeah, probably.
And then everyone's just like,
pie in the sky.
What?
I think they would just be like all these groans and whatever. I think would be like coming. I just don't think that they're gonna give Big D the money. I don't. Okay. And the thing is, yes, he's playing for second place. I think whether you're Ozza or whether you're Xavier, you want to take him to the final two with you, right? So it's
absolutely.
I don't see a scenario where he wins. I don't know. I don't see a scenario from any member of the Cookout where Big D would win. But to Mary's point earlier, he thinks he can win. He thinks he can win, and but that he can't, and he won't.
I don't know. As delusional as Big D is, if we got to the end with Kyland and they were asking like Kyland direct questions and he does the Paul Abrahamian and he just goes around in circles and never answers the question, and I think he could end up ended up pissing off the entire jury, and Big D could have won because he was more likable in a lot of ways. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Kyland was more likable to the rest of the house guests more than Big D. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like,
I think people just bypass liking or not liking and just would rather give him his due.
Kevin's saying here, I don't think Kylan would be able to articulate his responses to the jury in a way that he could win against Xavier. So if in that, I think Xavier would have won against Kylan in the final two. Although I think Kylan maybe could have picked up a couple votes, but I still think Xavier in the final two. I don't understand how he loses unless he's against Tiffany or Hannah, maybe. But that's not going to happen. That ship has sailed. So really, it's Xavier's game to lose at this point. He won this first part of the HOH tonight. Now we're going to final two. There was some teasers tonight with with a Big D and Ozza talking about it. And he's like, "Hey, you should feel good about it because I never win anyway, and I don't have a good track record." And so, do we want to get into spoilers and talking about part two of the HOH? And then looking ahead to the finale, because this will be our second last podcast before we finish up on Wednesday.
Might as well. Let's give people the news.
Okay. Get rough. Plus bird.
Okay. Rough. All right. So if you're leaving us here tonight, make sure to like and subscribe and share and everything else. We will be back on Wednesday to cover the whole finale if you don't want to know anything. And also check out, we're now covering Survivor. And you can also check out other channels like Live Long and Podcast and Trivial Debates. Okay, so we're getting into the spoiler section now. And if you don't want to know who part 2 is, then don't listen any further. Here we go.
So, the winner of part 2, amazingly,
let me get the banner.
Amazingly enough, was Big D. Big D won part 2. I'm joking. Come on.
I was like, this is not.
Come on.
Oh, you. Oh, you.
Come on. Azza. Azza won. I don't know what part 2 was exactly.
Do what you need to do.
That's right, Azza.
Yes. So whoever wins, most likely is winning the game in part 3.
That's correct.
Good job, Mary. Good way to watch Survivor. Did you like it?
Yeah. I feel bad for you a little bit, Mary, because Jeff Probst is a different guy than he was.
It's a new Jeff Probst. New era.
He's a different person now.
Yeah, he really is. He's got a mullet. I don't know what's going on with him.
You can't say he's a different guy. He's a different person.
Oh, right. Sorry, guys. That's a derogatory word now. I didn't know.
Now Probst has told you.
Yeah, there you go. No one's surprised by this revelation about Big D losing to Azza.
No, it was that was what I was expecting to happen. So now it really just comes. Okay, so now that we know that that's out of the way, and Big D will have no agency in this decision. It's really either Xavier's going to win part 3 or Azza's going to win part 3. And chances are Xavier's going to win. If I were going to calculate the Vegas odds here, I would say Xavier is at least a 20-1.
If it is just dates, the favorite for me is Azza.
And I hope you're right. Because nothing would tickle me more than to see Azza win this, take it away from Xavier, and then go to the final 2 with Big D, a couple of jokers in the final. I think that would be a really fitting end. I think that you still get your cookout winner, you get everything, and then Xavier, but not the expected result.
If that occurs, guys, I think we are going to see Xavier break down. I think it's going to crush his soul if that happens. And because like we said tonight with this whole the nephew thing, and just how much he's been playing this game in a way that I think he wanted to probably be a little bit more cutthroat, but I think he was like, no, I'm going to play this game. It's going to work. And it has worked. And I think if he loses this last competition and Azza cuts him, I don't think he's going to take it great. I think it's really going to hurt him. I think it's just going to suck for him in so many different ways. And I'm not saying I want to see that, but I do kind of want to see Azza win. Because I think, I don't know, for me, Azza is just, I like the way she's played. I like her as a person. Everything about her is, I think, very genuine. And for me, I would love to see her, I'd like to see Xavier kind of, the underestimated person that he decided to bring to the end over Kyland, beat him here in this. Yeah. Thank you, Mary. I think the whole season has been Xavier's the anointed one to win. And right. And there's been a bunch of seasons, guys, where that person does not win the final 3 HOH, gets taken to the end anyway and wins. Like we saw it with Cody when he took Derek. We've seen it a few times where the person that gets taken wins. Like we saw it with Wu when he took Tony in Survivor. Wu, you have to do this. You can't.
Well, if Azza took Xavier to final 2, she would definitely lose, and she would deserve to, right?
Right, and she might do it, based off their relationship. Not because she might do it anyway, guys. And I think we have to be prepared for that. That if Azza does win this final 3, and we expect, oh my God, Azza's gonna win, which is what I'm gonna think, and then she's like, you know what, I'm taking Xavier anyway
because I don't want Big D to get a dime.
Big D, I think, again, will not take that well. The only person that's going to take finishing 3rd well is Azza.
Yeah. She's like, I did everything I could. And then I find myself on the big blue couch. And
big blue couch,
and then it seemed that Xavier and Big D sent her ass home.
What clip is that prompting me for?
The Big D send your butt home, send your ass home.
Oh, I don't have a hotkey for that. 1 second.
Featuring Take Your Ass Home.
Take your ass home. Take your ass home. Take your ass home. Take your ass home. Take your ass home. Take your ass home.
Let's keep singing.
Okay.
Don't forget about the hit "I'm Back on the Block."
I'm back on the block again. Because I'm from the block.
Yeah, so I'm excited because I'm going to be cheering for Ozza on Wednesday night, guys. And yeah, it's again. That's
She never had a final two. She's never had a final two.
She's never had a final anything. I think she expected to finish 4th, 5th, 6th. I don't think she cared. And now it's just been serendipitous that she won that double eviction where she took out Hannah, which is her one claim to fame move that she's done,
which everyone pandered for.
Right, and
I did.
I did too. And you know what?
She's embracing it.
I'm starting to kind of come back on that argument because Hannah was gonna cut Azza if she had the chance. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like Hannah was like beyond cutting Azza. She would have done that, you know.
No.
So I think like Azza made a good, like it was a calculated move, kind of why like Sarah Beth wanted Hannah out, you know. They were all playing that role of like, you know what, we're the female contestant that nobody views as a threat, and we want to go into that lane, which is a very like, that's how Nicole F won the game, guys. Like that's how certain players win the game, in that lane of the non-threatening female that gets the final 3.
Right. Well,
yeah, Hannah wouldn't have got out as a before, not before the guys though.
Right.
Unless she had to, mind you, she would have preferred not to.
Here's the thing too. For the part 3 that we're looking ahead, we know that part 3 is typically the finish the jury member statement. Who do you think knows the jury the best between Azza and Xavier?
I mean, how is it not Xavier? Right?
Really?
I mean, I don't know. I just think Azza is sat in a room, from what I can tell, a lot of the time. You know,
but she had a lot of personal conversations with the people.
A lot of people just came to see her too,
like the Godfather.
Yeah.
Well, I just wonder, like, if some of the times, like Xavier will remember it only because, like, oh, I was there and I remember what they said, whereas Azza might have to guess in those moments. You know what I mean?
Next question here. Do you think that Xavier threw the double eviction to Azza?
He went like this. He went like this.
He obviously overthrew that last shot too, I think.
There was no way he could win from that last shot unless you screwed up. So,
well, he's talking about the Azza one, not the Hannah one. The Hannah one, I think he definitely threw. The rolling the balls thing with Azza, I do think it was strategically done, because in some ways, because I think he was okay with losing, because he knew if it had been Hannah, I think he would have tried harder. Let's put it that way. If he was going against Hannah in that, because Azza, I think he knew was going to go after Hannah anyway. And if it wasn't Hannah, it was going to be Kyland. So Xavier was like, all right, I'm good. You know what? Either way, that's probably the person who's going home.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that Xavier is sort of like this like obvious choice for the win, right? Like if you're a juror member, like I think you to vote against Xavier, you almost fear you're gonna look bitter, right? Like if Xavier gets up there and you have to justify a vote for Azza over Xavier, I think that's gonna be tough.
Oh, well, it won't be Azza though; it'll be Big D
or Big D. Either way.
Will anyone vote for Big D if Big D sits beside Xavier?
No.
Azza, maybe?
Kyland.
No.
Kyland might.
Kyland, if he just wants to fight Xavier. Yeah.
Because he's petty.
Because he's petty.
Because I'm petty.
Yeah. It could be like, I don't know. I wonder what the chances are of it being a unanimous vote.
High. I think it's extremely high. Xavier wins. How many jury members are there? 9?
9, yeah.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if he doesn't get all 9 votes.
All right.
But if we somehow get Ozza Big D, I think that's also probably 9-0
for Ozza.
Yeah.
Does everyone hate Big D that much? You think?
Just won't. I don't think they hate him as much as they just don't respect him.
But why do they respect Ozza? Like, why?
I think Ozza is more like considerate of people's feelings and made real connections with people and would listen to people.
She could say that she never really betrayed anyone except Hannah.
Yep, that's true. And Hannah will probably give her credit for that.
Yep.
Right. I think they look
I
at
agree with you. Yeah.
Big D's like immature. He's like a man child to them, and they're like, no. Like,
enjoy your 50,000 and just stand over the side. The adults are speaking. Oh, yeah, 75.
You know what? I can't argue it. I cannot argue it. I'm trying, Big D. I'm trying to argue for you, but I can't.
And if somehow we got Ozza and Xavier in the final 2, which I guess we won't, like, unless one of them. I guess if Ozza somehow took Xavier.
I think that could happen if Ozza doesn't care about the money.
She wants to marry Xavier.
No, but just like kind of like Cody did for Derek Lavisseur, kind of like I don't know, kind of like he deserves it more. Like
is that what happened with those two, with Cody and Derek?
So. I
thought Cody was like, no, it's about loyalty and I'll win anyway. He was like the Kyland mentality back then.
I don't know. I thought he kind of knew he was going to lose, but I mean, if he didn't, that's really bad self-awareness of how Derek was viewed in that game. But
it was, yeah, he didn't get it. I don't think a lot of the people in the house understood Derek's threat level until afterwards, right? Until they compared notes in jury, and so yeah, I think that Derek was underestimated the whole way. Derek Lavisseur in BB16.
Yeah.
But now with Xavier, it's gonna be like, how did you not see this guy coming? How did you not take him out? How did you had an opportunity to put him on the block here and here, especially if it's like Ozza, I think that they would say you don't deserve it. Like,
oh yeah. So there's a couple other things with the spoilers. After Big D lost the part 2, he was very down on himself. He was asked, "Hey, how you doing?" He's like, "Just sucks. Haven't won anything all season. It's just terrible." And Xavier said, "You know what? He thought he was a master manipulator. Now he realizes, damn, I got played. It hurts." And I think that's kind of like that in a nutshell. Is he thought he was going to have some sort of an argument to make at the end, and he has none. And it's hitting him. Big D also said, I've dealt with people, talking about Tiff, like that, where they sit there and hug you and take your wallet out of your pocket without you knowing. So he's still throwing shade at jury members. He's not even in the house anymore. I don't know what he's doing.
No.
Yeah, like it's hard to feel sorry for him, really. Like, he's going to probably get $75,000 despite having won nothing.
Can they switch it around so that second place gets 50,000 and America's favorite player, which you won't win, gets 75?
Yeah, maybe. And speaking of which, I don't think Derek X will be America's favorite player.
You think it'll be Tiff?
I think based on the edits we had, especially in the Friday episode and tonight's episode, Derek X has been pretty. He's not been used a lot. I think Christian's gonna get more votes now than Derek X.
Oh, I disagree. I absolutely disagree.
I think Christian's Zonky bit is going to do huge with the voters.
It's gonna do
watch.
Huge.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be the best. He's gonna be the best American favorite player.
What did he mean by that?
What did he mean by who? Big D talking about?
I think mean Big D
about Tiff. Here, I'll look at it. It says,
Kevin thinks America's favorite player will be between Tiffany and Claire.
Wow.
I think it's Tiffany and
I still
Derek
say DX, yeah.
And I still think
DX.
DX wins, because the reason why I think DX wins is because a lot of the people that watch this show aren't happy with the show, and I think they're just going to give it.
Claire would just be like, give all my votes to Tiffany.
So proud of Tiffany. I'm so excited.
So excited. So excited.
So stoked.
I'm so stoked. So excited.
So
Token white person, baby, all day.
You are.
I know. I've done that math item.
Oh, okay. X says everyone sat next to Claire except you, Tiff. So that the whole idea that we would have to sit next to our person. Feeds cut and we're back. And then Big D says, I saw right through that. I knew the type of person she was. I've dealt with people like that before when they sit there and they hug you and take your wallet out of your pocket without you knowing. And then X says, Tiffany, you haven't sat next to your person. Your person sat on the block 3 times. And then that's it. That's pretty much, I guess, the scene cut and went to Azza eating and studying in her room on her bed where she always is. So we had Azza saying, how do you get that right down pat? Talking to X. X says, you got to work at it sometimes. You got to be ready to work it. And that's when they're in the bathroom, kind of like, I don't know, showing off a little bit, I think. Yeah. But that's kind of what's going on in the house. They're bored. I mean, the last week, guys, is rough.
Drags. Yeah, like what do you have? What is there left to talk about with these people, right? You're just living sort of a quiet. I guess just enjoy the solitude until you're going to be thrown back into real life again. Like I can't imagine that that's easy to do. You know, you just want to get to the finale, get to the moment, win or not win. Anticipation would kill you.
Yeah. So we have here, look at Big D's picture here. I don't know, this picture sums up Big D to me in every facet. He's just stewing, fanning. He's sullen. He's angry. He's just pissed off that nothing's going his way. And I don't know. Baby. He's a big baby, yeah. And that's kind of what I don't know. That's kind of what I see.
I can't feel I can't feel mad for the dude. I can't feel sad for the dude. I mean,
he's been incredibly fortunate in this game to get where he is, and you know he'll be remembered, and he might even have a shot at America's favorite player. I don't think he'll win, but I think I could see him being a top 3.
Nope.
Yeah, I could see that too, but
I think that Tiffany or Derek X will win. I think ultimately Tiffany is going to win this.
Yeah, I think so too. Okay, guys. Well, I think that's all we have to say about this episode. Unless you guys want.
No, I think that's good. I'm looking forward to this finale. You know, I think it's really going to come down to this part 3. I as much as like I win either way because I win the draft if Xavier wins this thing, and you know he.
Or I win the draft.
Or Jaemeel win the draft, but I still win. Because I'll get to see Azza win this game, which I think would be fun. I think that she a very unlikely winner. I think that's seeing that underdog story come through would be a great ending to this. Unexpected, expect the unexpected.
Who won last year's All-Stars draft?
Jeff did. Cody. He had Cody.
I think I picked him first overall too.
Yeah, it was a first overall, and he won outright, and then you had Franzel as well.
And who won Canada?
I did.
So yeah, you're not winning this time.
No, I might if I get Xavier.
No, you're not winning this time.
Janelle is backing Tiffany.
Janelle that's
if you guys. That will rally some votes.
That will rally some votes. Yes. Tiffany was a good play. She'll be back. She'll play again.
She'll be back. DX will be back. Kylan won't be.
Kylan will not.
Kylan will not. Xavier might come back for a winter season if he ends up winning here.
Yeah. Azza won't be back if there's a winning season.
No.
She'll Natalie White it.
Yeah.
Okay, and we're going to sign up for tonight. Mary, just to get back to one of your comments, you had asked, you said you had watched Survivor. She said, yes, I did. And which season should I go back and watch? Well, Winners at War was very recent, and that had the winners from all a bunch of seasons, and we did do
that will spoil
podcasts
every
for
other
this.
season before that.
Go watch 20. Go watch Heroes Villains.
Heroes versus Villains.
So wait,
yeah.
not Samoa first, then Heroes Villains.
Samoa was good, but I don't know. Heroes Villains is just one of those seasons that I think is like top notch.
What about Bloodwater? Bloodwater.
Which
Bloodwater
one?
1?
The first one?
Yeah, Bloodwater 1.
First one's good. Second one, not so much.
Yeah. But you have to refer to it as Bloodwater, not Blood versus Water.
Right.
Bloodwater.
Bloodwater.
Pearl Islands too. If you want to go back and watch an old school season, Mary, Pearl Islands is one of the best.
If you want some girl power, Survivor One World, where the guys are just inept idiots. It's just really awful. The women just dominate that entire season.
Micronesia is another girl power season. If you want to watch it, that's another one.
China's a great season too.
China's a good one. Don't watch any season from about 8 to 12.
8 to 12.
None of those seasons are good.
Stay away from Thailand.
Yeah.
Yes. Stay away from Thailand.
Thailand's probably the worst one of them all. Yeah. So those. Yeah. But there was a lull period of Survivor, and 8 to 12 was that period.
Yeah, that's where the show almost got canceled.
Yeah.
I want to look it up now. You're making me.
But on that note, make sure to check out. We will be covering.
All-Stars.
Oh, 8's good. Okay, 9 to 12.
So Vanuatu, Palau, Guatemala.
Yeah.
Panama. No, you might.
Panama's okay. Panama's has got the Surrey Fields, and it's a good season.
Yeah, so Panama, Cook Islands, skip Fiji, watch China, Micronesia.
You can skip Gabon, but there's some big characters.
Yeah.
We're giving her so much information right now.
Yeah.
Tocantins, I like. Then it has a good stretch. Tocantins, Samoa, and Heroes Villains.
Yeah, that's a good stretch.
Yeah.
And Nicaragua.
On the Survivor note, we are going to be covering that on Thursday. Episode 2 will be covered on Thursday night because we'll be doing the Big Brother finale Wednesday night, even though they air the same night. Just because we can't do them all, and we got to finish up the Big Brother season first. So we will be here Wednesday night. I guess I'm not sure exactly what time. I guess it's going to be like 10:30, right? Because that's when the show will end. So that's when we'll be doing that, I believe. And then Survivor on Thursday this week. And also check out Live Long and Podcast, our Star Trek theme channel. We are Tuesday. We'll be talking about Star Trek Deep Space Nine. No Monday podcast this week, and or next week because our dad's traveling, and I'll be traveling next week. And then of course Star Trek Lower Decks on Thursday at 7:00. We'll be talking about that over at Live Long and Podcast. Mm-hmm. And our most recent edition of Trivial Debates we did this morning with Jessica Chan and Davin Skellhorn and Max Duda, along with Chris Seymour hosting. It was a great episode. Check that out as well. Feed the monster. That's right. Yeah, she's like, too much information. I agree. I understand, Mary. All right. And on that note, we are going to sign out for tonight. We'll be back Wednesday. And you know what we need, Julie.
From outside the Big Brother house, I'm Julie Chen Moonves. And remember, be the good. Good night.